Yo, yo, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Snapzilla Gorilla is in the building, hitting y'all with this quick live stream so that we can discuss my confusion. I got confusions, y'all. So that's what I want to talk about this morning. Maybe you guys can help me understand and deconfusify my proliferations. Help me deconfuse my proliferations so that I can come to the unequivocal understanding of what in the frick frack fuck is going on. What in the frick frack fuck is going on right now in the sport of boxing? Why is it that there are so many fighters that show promise, that show that it seems like they're showing that they are willing to fight the best and challenge themselves and to put themselves to the test and understand what their value is right now versus what it could be in the future based on what they do in the near future, right? Help me, I'm not LinkedIn, okay? I don't have an insider's track. I'm not a boxing insider. I'm not any of that. I don't talk to these boxers. I don't talk to the coaches. I don't talk to the promoters. I do support YouTubers that have those things going on, but I'm not in their DMs asking questions. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just a spectator trying to figure out what's going on. And every now and then, I'll give my 2 cents on what's going on. And that's what I'm going to do today. Because I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in Brian Norman Jr. I'm disappointed in Brian Norman Sr. I'm disappointed in Tay Jones. Wagwan Controller Smasher, what's up? Controller Smasher, I like that. I used to smash controllers back in my day. So I'm disappointed because what I am witnessing, what I'm seeing, and what is being conveyed to me from both sides is ducking on the part of Brian Norman. Brian Norman Jr., who I had dubbed Red Rum, I called him Red Rum. Oh, I'm gonna let you know, Controller Smasher. I'm disappointed in Brian Norman Jr. because it appears as though all right, bro. Yeah, relax with that. Relax. It appears that Brian Norman Jr. is ducking Devin Haney. That's how it appears to me. And I'm trying to figure out why. Because before Brian Norman Jr. fought Jen Sasaki, right before that, Devin Haney took to Twitter and whatever the case and kind of prodded and poked at Brian Norman Jr., to get him riled up a little bit, I believe, to motivate him to do some real damage to Jen Sasaki, which he ended up doing, right? And so when Brian Norman Jr. knocked out Jen Sasaki, Devin said, oh, well, maybe Brian Norman Jr. isn't that much of an ass, right? Maybe he's not that ass, right? Gave him some credit, gave him a big up, you know what I'm saying? And that was pretty much all we heard from Devin and Bill for maybe a day or two. A day or two they were quiet. Now, during those 2 days, everybody jumped out the window. Everybody jumped out the window and was already calling Devin and Bill a duck. Because Devin made it appear, and so did Brian Norman Sr. and Bill Haney, made it appear that they were going to do what they could to make that fight happen next. And so when Devin and Bill didn't say much for the first 2 days after the fight. Everybody was on Devin's bumper, talking about, oh, what's going on, was cracking. Oh, y'all ducking Brian Norman Jr. Yeah, I saw that knockout. Oh, he had that left hook. Oh, Brian Norman Jr. had that devastating left hook. And y'all got scared, right? Everybody tried to, they called Devin out. They called Bill out. Oh, you ain't talking that shit now, is you? Oh, you ain't talking that shit now? Lo and behold, what happens? Bill Haney goes on one of them YouTubers channels that I don't really watch, and to discuss the Brian Norman Jr. fight, and said that he reached out to Brian Norman Jr. team and hadn't heard anything from them. And I was like, confusions everywhere. What was it? What was it? What happened? So that happened, right? Okay, so then eventually Bill Haney comes out and says basically that Brian Norman Jr. wanted a certain amount to fight Boots, to unify their belts. And Bill asked if they would take the same to fight Devin. Will you take the same amount to fight Devin? Bill took it to the Brian Norman Jr. team, and there were crickets, from what I understand. Crickets. And I'm like, wait a minute. What happened?
Object on road reported ahead.
Because everybody was talking shit about Bill and Devin being quiet. They were calling Bill and Devin ducks for not just hooping and hollering, to not just coming out of nowhere, and you know what I'm saying? Because they made it clear they were willing to fight Brian Norman Jr. next before he fought Jen Sasaki. I don't know what would change, but everybody got on Bill and Devin's top for being quiet for a couple days. But now Bill's reaching out, and they're not accepting anything. They're not responding. They're not giving any response. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is going on, man? Then what happens? Adrian Clark, Brian Norman Jr.'s manager, goes and says that they're going to wait. They're going to wait for the winner of Mario Barrios versus Pacquiao. They're going to wait now. And I was even more confused because they said they were on the bumper of Bill's team, Devin's team, and they were going in. They wanted that fight next. For what they said, they wanted that fight next. But now they're saying they're going to wait for Pacquiao Barrios winner. What was it? So I'm listening. I'm watching BFTB. He was live last night, and he's talking about it, breaking the situation down. And I'm like, yo, this is a blatant duck, straight up and down, right? And Tay Jones comes into the chat. Shout out to Tay Jones. Much respect to him. Much respect to the Normans too, as well. Much respect to them. I have no reason to have any ill will toward them, but they are appearing that they are ducks now. Adrian Clark coming out to say that he's going to wait for the Mario Barrios Pacquiao winner. They're going to wait. That's a duck, because they were damn sure hollering from the rooftops that they wanted to fight Devin next. So Tay Jones comes in the chat, and he's basically, of course, he's defending Brian Norman Jr. as he should. He's part of that team. Fancy pants. I don't like spam. Don't be spamming up in here. Shout out to Finland. Dev just sent an offer last night. Oh, I know Joseph Jackson. Yeah, I heard that he had Turkey send an offer. So we'll see what happens. But nothing has happened as of yet. So Tay Jones comes in the BXB chat. Of course, he's defending Brian Norman Jr. And then he mentions that he spoke to Bill yesterday. That's what Tay Jones said. Now, I don't know Tay Jones. I don't know. That's not, I have no personal relationships with any of these guys. Just to let you guys know, I'm not clued in any way, form, or fashion. I just enjoy the sport. And I don't like the shambles. I don't like the shambles that boxing is currently in right now. So I speak up and I speak out about it because that's what the fuck I do. Anyway, anything I have an interest in, I'll speak on it. And so Tay Jones says that he spoke to Bill. So I'm asking the question. I said, well, you spoke to Bill. Did you tell Bill that y'all will accept or counter the offer that they gave? Because they offered what you were going to get to fight Boots, or what you wanted to fight Boots. And if you don't want that, if you want more, did you counter? What are we doing here? Are we talking? What's going on? Are we negotiating? These are my questions.
Police reported ahead.
Because just saying, oh, well, I talked to Bill already. Well, that's not saying anything, right? You're trying to take the heat off Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. by saying, oh, well, we talked to Bill, so yeah, it's all good. Well, what happened? Because as far as Bill understands, y'all ain't accepted shit. Y'all haven't accepted an offer. Y'all haven't countered. Y'all haven't said yay or nay. So what was it, a productive conversation with Bill, or did y'all talk about the weather? Because I remember when Tay Jones called in to Champside, right after Brian Norman Jr. knocked Jin Sasaki into the last 6 weeks. And Tay Jones was going in on Devin for calling Brian Norman Jr. ass and said, oh yeah, that fight got to happen next. Oh, that got to happen next. Devin was talking all that shit, blah, blah, blah. Devin was doing this, Devin was doing that. He got to answer for his words. Oh yeah, they got to fight next. Those were Tay Jones' words. And I get it. I understand, Bill. And I said the same shit when I did my live stream about the fight. Devin and Brian Norman Jr. need to fight next. There's no reason that can't happen. There's no reason it shouldn't happen. They need to fight next. They're both available. They're both available. They should be able to fight each other. So Tay Jones is basically saying, yeah, Devin was talking all that shit. They got to fight next. You know what I'm saying? Just rah, just, hey, man, this got to happen. Okay. So I'm excited. I'm like, yes, I know Devin will fight Brian Norman Jr. next. But now that Tay Jones is basically saying, yeah, well, we want that fight next. Yeah, that fight should happen next. I'm thinking, oh, well, shit. This fight is actually going to happen because in my mind, Brian Norman Jr. is one of those ones. He's one of those ones that will fight anybody, that will take the challenge, that will get it cracking and fight the best. And right now, the best at 147, aside from Brian Norman Jr., is Devin Haney. Well, on paper, we haven't seen. Well, we saw Devin fight at 140 at welterweight one time at a catch weight. But nonetheless, Devin is the best up there, point blank in the period. Just the best boxer in general. He was better than Jen Sasaki. He's a better boxer than Brian Norman Jr. He was better than everybody up there until Boots left. I mean, before Boots left. Or after Boots left. Canelo? What do you mean Canelo? Canelo's not at 147. Anyway. So I'm excited. I'm like, man, this shit's gonna be popping. You know, I know that, you know, BFTB wanted them to fight for Undisputed, but I mean, after Devin Haney came out and said that Brian Norman Jr. was ass, I was like, bruh, you got to fight him next now. You got to fight him next. So, you know, I hold Devin to the same standard. You talking that shit, you say Brian Norman Jr.'s ass, well, he just knocked out Jen Sasaki. You gonna stand on that? What you gonna do? You gonna make him look like ass or what? That's what I was thinking. But I know Devin is willing to step up and take the challenge. And I thought Brian Norman Jr. would do the same thing, but I guess, I don't know what's going on. Does he want more money? And then Tay Jones is in BFTB's chat saying, oh, well, we're waiting on the offer from Turkey. What was it? What are we talking about? We're waiting on an offer from Turkey. Well, okay, well, Bill said that he had money to put in the escrow for you, to lock something in, to get something going. Why not allow Bill to put that money in escrow and then talk to Turkey about negotiating for more money? Because if Bill is saying that he has an offer, then that is coming from Turkey already. That is the offer from Turkey. So what Bill offered you came from Turkey. So instead of saying, well, I'm waiting for Turkey's offer, you do understand that that is Turkey's money that Bill is offering. So why not just tell Bill, nah, bruh, double that up. Double that up. Y'all just came to 147. We got the strap. You want the strap. You want to fight my son. Give me 4 million. Give me 6 million. What a counter. What is this we're waiting for Turkey bullshit? Because by now y'all know how this works. Y'all know that Turkey is working with Devin directly. Y'all know that that's where the money's coming from on Devin's end. Y'all are Bob Arum fighters or whatever the fuck. What was this thing called? Golden Goose champion, drink champions, whatever the fuck that promotional company's called, that Bob Arum is in charge of. Y'all have Bob Arum. Bob Arum works with Turkey. Bob Arum works with Turkey, even though he don't like it. Devin Haney works with Turkey. You, by extension, work with Turkey. If you want to fight Devin and you don't like, and you think that, oh, well, your value went up and you want more money than you wanted from Oops, then say that. Why say, if you are waiting for Turkey's offer, but Bill gave you an offer, well, you obviously don't like the offer, so why wait on Turkey's? No, you counter, because you understand that Bill is getting that money from Turkey, or he's funding the money to get you locked in, to bring you to the negotiation table, to show that he's serious, and Turkey is going to reimburse him, or he's going to put his own money in there. Bill gets his money back, but Bill is just trying to hurry up and lock you in. Bill Haney is running down on y'all like, look, let's make this happen right now, man. You know, I know right now I can get you right now what you wanted for boots right now. We can put it in escrow. We can put it in escrow. I'll show you, at the very least, you'll get what you wanted for boots. You'll get what you wanted for boots, at the very least. We'll put that in escrow. If you want more, we can talk to Turkey about it, getting you more money. That simple. What are these games we're playing, y'all? Like, I thought it was Brian Norman Jr., Devin Haney. Like, I thought Brian Norman Jr. was equally as willing and eager to fight the best as Devin is. But I see that that's not really the case. And you know what? When Devin said, right, because they were also saying Devin was ducking. Excuse me. When Devin told Brian Norman Jr. not to price himself out. Well, maybe Devin had something going there. Maybe Devin understood something that we didn't understand. That is now coming to light. Devin understood that Brian Norman Jr. might be feeling himself a little bit and might not accept a decent offer, right? And might try to price himself out. And everybody's on Devin like, oh, you already ducking, man. Yeah, you trying to say he pricing himself out already. You already on the bullshit. Well, it turns out Devin might have had a great fucking point. Because let's go with our first mind. And what is our first mind? What is the first mind from Adrian Clark? Right? What is the first mind? Well, the first mind from Adrian Clark is, speaking on behalf of the Brian Norman Jr. team, the first mind is, well, we're going to wait for Pacquiao and Mario Barrios to fight. See who wins that, and then we'll fight that motherfucker. Well, they fight next month. And you could fight Devin in November or October and then fight the winner of Barrios versus Pacquiao after that. Or you can even, make a deal with Devin and then see what happens during the Barrios versus Pacquiao fight and go from there. But what are we waiting on those guys for? Are you sure you're going to get a fight with the winner of that bout? I can tell you what the sure thing is. The sure thing is Devin. That's the sure thing. You know for good and goddamn sure that Devin will fight you. Will fight you next. A bag comes with that. But you don't know who's going to win between Barrios and Pacquiao. And you don't know if they're going to want to fight you next. So why are we waiting for an unsure thing to let the sure thing go to the wayside? So we're going to move on from a sure thing for a possibility. To me, that sounds like a duck. It's becoming more and more obvious over the last year that Haney is the warrior and most other in the weight classes care about image. That's what it's looking like, Super Hustle Man. That's what it's looking like. So, we'll just see what happens, man. I believe there was an offer from Turkey. That's what Tay Jones said they were waiting on, and we'll see what happens. Until then, we'll see what goes on, and I'll hit y'all later. I just wanted to give my little 2 cents on it. And, we'll find out. But I think it's a blatant duck, and it is what it is. Anyway, Much love to you guys. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for hitting the like button and all that good shit. Thank you for leaving your input. Much love. Like, share, subscribe, or not. And we're going to keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.